Hey everybody, welcome to Olympic Minds Leadership Beyond Limitations. You know, I really love bringing people in to talk at levels beyond just the normal, just the things that most people are going to hear. We want to talk to leaders who are leaders of leaders, visionaries of visionaries. We want people who want to go from mediocrity to mastery, and people who are looking beyond success into significance. So we don't talk just about theory. We talk about things that are grit-tested, hard-proven, and results-driven. Today, I am your host, Sherry Wynn, two-time Olympian, national championship basketball coach, and CEO of the Winning Leadership Company. My guest today is Tara Rule. I have to tell you how we met. So those of you who don't think taking every opportunity to meet people, you're wrong. We're sitting on a plane together. I don't even remember where we're going to go, where we're going. I don't remember anything, but just sitting next to each other. And we started a conversation. We just had a great conversation on the plane. It led to me interviewing her boss at the time, which was from Adobe. And then I've been following her just along LinkedIn. Again, for folks who don't understand the power of LinkedIn, I've been following her along LinkedIn and seeing all the wonderful things she's doing. So she separated herself from Adobe. She started her own business. She's out there doing conferences, speaking, leading people into a new level of awareness. And that's what I love about her. She's so positive and dynamic. You have to meet her. I'm going to let Tara talk a little bit more about herself right now. Hey, Tara.
Thank you. Hey. And I think I was flying from London to San Jose, and I think it was a Salt Lake City to San Jose connection or something that we met on. So yes.
Wow.
Many years ago.
I can't believe you remember that, because I just remember that you were preparing for a speech and I said, hey, you know, is there anything I can support you with? Because this is what I do. And we just got into a conversation. And from there, it just, I think, blossomed into, I don't want to say true friendship, but definitely an admiration for one another's work.
Both ways. Yeah, exactly. So yes, so I am Tara Rule, and the core thing that I do is to help busy professionals to build rock solid confidence. And I do that through helping people set goals that excite them and master their self-talk, because I really think it's a combination of the two that really help us kind of feel confident. You're saying about LinkedIn, people often say I'm the most positive person they know on social media. And I'm like, I'll take that. But what I also do is I help leaders directly. So I work with leaders to help them to build teams that are more engaged, more energized, more empowered, because I really believe in the power of like positive leadership. So yeah, they're the core people that I help, like busy professionals in it. How can I feel more confident? And also leaders, whether it's directly with their teams or one-to-one with them in a number of different ways. I think I'm slightly different to a lot of coaches as well. So I'm a qualified professional coach, qualified positive psychology coach, 20 years experience working in tech. But I loved corporate, absolutely loved it. I thought I would be working in corporate forever, but then I found something that I loved even more. And I was like, I need to give it a go. And so I became the CEO and founder of my own business. I wrote a book, Stop Apologizing, which became a #1 bestseller last year. I speak and I run retreats. I do coaching. I do workshops, so many different things. And I absolutely love what I do, but I'm not there going, hey, everyone needs to leave corporate and start their own business, which I think a lot of coaches end up doing. But it's like, no, I loved it, but how can we have more leaders, more people working in corporate who are happier, who feel like they can succeed without having to sacrifice everything? And that's the core part of what I do.
So I loved it. You talked about confidence, you know, because so most people would assume if you're a leader that you'd be confident. Like they make the assumption like that people are in leadership and they're 100% confident and they know exactly what they feel inside. And you kind of said, like, it's got to start from the inside out. Like if you're going to be good at what you do, it starts with the inside out. So tell me a little bit more about when you say, you know, helping people with confidence. What does that look like? What does it sound like? So that people are wondering, like, you know, I have a little bit of self-doubt. We all do. So let's start with that. We all do. But how do you help people build their confidence?
Yeah. So I think it's that word self-doubt, because I believe we all have self-doubt at times in moments. I talk about having an inner critic. So we all have an inner critic who's going, are you sure anyone's going to listen to this podcast? Are you sure anyone cares? Do you actually have enough experience? Like we got that doubt, or we're about to walk into a meeting and present and they go, what if someone asks you something you don't know the answer to? And we have that doubt, and I call it that inner critic. And for me, it's about knowing we all have that inner critic, but sometimes like coming onto this podcast, like my inner critic was really quiet. Mm-hmm. So I know how to manage it. I have moments when I struggle more, but like for today, I was like, yeah, that inner critic's really, really quiet. But for a lot of us, that inner critic can be really loud and really forceful and really like jumping up and down, shouting in our mind, that then impacts how we show up. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's around leaning into it and understanding what that voice is saying rather than putting it in a box. Because so many people go, no, put it in a box, try and avoid, like, I'm fine. The more high pitched, I'm fine. So it's about really leaning into it, listening to what that voice is saying, and then understanding that it's doing it to try and keep you safe.
Right.
It doesn't want you to fail.
Right.
It doesn't want you to be judged. It doesn't want other people to laugh at you. It doesn't want you to be kind of put on a pedestal and fall. It's doing it for a really good reason, and that's to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. And normally that comes from something like a childhood experience or something. And it's understanding that it's trying to keep you safe. And then you can go, do you know what? Thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Mm-hmm. Now I choose to listen to my inner cheerleader. And a big part of what I do is help people understand what their inner critic's telling them, reframe it slightly and go, so what does your inner cheerleader want to tell you? Mm-hmm. Do you know what? I've got a voice that deserves to be heard. I've got the experience. I can do this. I am doing this. I am good enough. Mm-hmm. And really tapping into that voice. And it's amazing how many people I work with go, I've got an inner cheerleader. But literally within a couple of minutes, it's like, oh, actually, I have. Right. And it's helping you kind of tune into that. And that's where I think that real confidence comes from, is like listening to our inner cheerleader rather than listening to our inner critic. But we have to be deliberate. We have to be conscious, because otherwise our subconscious takes over and it's all a negative spiral.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So one of the things you said was like, a lot of people try to put in a box, right? Yeah. So they don't want to hear it because it makes them feel bad. So when you have something that makes you feel bad, you're like, you're like, get rid of it. I need to get rid of it. Well, no, you don't get rid of it by pushing away. That means it's going to come back. You know, whatever you persist, so it keeps coming back, it keeps coming back, it keeps coming back. And so it's having the courage to step into and listen, and then to say, well, this is something that's not true. Like maybe it was true when I was 5, or maybe it was true when I was 15. Is this still true? And you have to meet that person, right? You have to meet that new person, because you're not the same person you were when you were 5 or 15 or whatever. It's an interesting thing that, like you said, our subconscious mind tries to keep us safe, right? In so many ways, and we don't understand that. So part of that is you have to figure out, like, where did this come from? Would you agree that you have to figure out where the voice came? Yeah. Like, I think that you have to figure out where the voice came from, because if you don't know where it came from, you can't really like recognize how silly it is or how it's, you know, presenting itself today.
Yeah. So I think there's a slight nuance though, because for me, I've done the work to go, where did it come from? But I would say I got to a place where I realized I didn't think that I was good enough.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know why at the time, but I had this I'm just lucky. I put everything down to luck. I'd get a promotion. I'd get 100% of my bonus. I'd get offered a new role. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. And people are like, really lucky? I'm like, yes, I'm so lucky. Rather than going, do you know what? I'm really good at what I do and I deserve that. I was like, whoa, no way would I have said that. It was just luck. And so I realized I had like probably a good year or so where I had this realization that I was procrastinating because I thought I wasn't good enough. So let's put off the thing, because if I do it and it's not good enough, well, that's going to trigger way too many emotions. So I'd rather put it off than do it and it not be right. Right. And so it kind of comes out in strange ways. So for me, I probably had about a year of knowing I had this belief I wasn't good enough, and starting to challenge that belief and go, well, is that true? No, that isn't actually true. And then I got to a point where I realized where it came from. And it was like, oh, I failed an exam when I was 12. Therefore, I made up a belief. Therefore, I'm not good enough. Really? And so many people, we have something from when we were younger or in our early experience that impact it. And I think that really helped me to be able to then really move forward. I had somebody a while ago, and they were going, one of my clients, and they said, I've realized in our conversation, she realized the unlock, what was holding her back from a belief point of view. But she was there going, I don't quite know where it comes from. And I don't know if I want to go there. She was like, can I still move forward without unlocking? And I was like, yes. So I believe you can still move forward. It's not like a therapy point of view going, we are going to pinpoint that moment. Let's like break you until you find that moment. But I think it's having that awareness to go, I'm having these beliefs and I'm now ready to challenge them because it's not true.
Well, I would
without having, 100% having to go back.
I don't even know what percentage of my clients have this, like, I'm not good enough, like, background thing. I mean, I would say, I'm going to make a guess, because I would say almost 95% of the people I work with, we're going to meet that particular belief system that comes into play, right? And you don't have to always pinpoint where it comes from. You just have to know it's not true. Like, you have to be able to know it's not true. For me, it was really important for me to understand where it came from, because I had to understand how silly it was. So when I was a kid, my mom used to sing this little, I don't know, it was a nursery rhyme, terrible nursery rhyme when you listen to it. I don't know what the total title of it is, because I call it the worm song. So it goes like this: nobody likes you, everybody hates you, you need to eat some worms. First you get the bucket, then you get the shovel, ooh, how they wiggle and squirm. Listen to those lyrics. Nobody likes you, right? Everybody hates you. You're so bad you have to eat worms. Well, you know, when you're that young, Tara, you know that your brain is just accepting everything as truth. It doesn't filter things out. Yes. Well, it took me to realize how much that had impacted me. It impacted me for decades. This little ditty that was a nursery rhyme. That was the origin of my entire belief system, was a nursery rhyme. Like, so for me, when I recognized it was a nursery rhyme, and then my mom didn't do it intentionally. Like, it was not an intentional, like, I want to teach you not to like yourself thing. She just thought it was kind of funny, you know, and she sang it to me. Of course, me as a kid just took it as truth. And how many decades did I live that lie from a nursery rhyme? So it's not always important. It's always important to dig back into it. I don't think you have to know exactly where it came from. Sometimes I think it's important because you can just go, oh my gosh, like I lived decades from a truth that was derived from a nursery rhyme.
Yeah, completely, exactly. It kind of helps you kind of have that awareness and like to be able to put it into perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes that's just really good for people, I think, to put it in perspective. And if you don't want to revisit something because it's too harmful, like you're not ready for it, or it's so, to me, it's so black, and you haven't been able to, don't. Like, you're not ready. And it's not really our job.
Exactly.
Like, you know, you're a coach, I'm a coach. It's not our job to be a psychologist. Like, I don't have the training to do that. But I do have a lot of tool sets to help people get through some of the things that they've engaged in. What I heard you say is, like, you ask the question, is it true? Which is from Byron Katie's work, book, The Work, right? The first question she asked, is it true? And if you can say no, like that simple answer to yourself, is it true? No, it's not true.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of freeing as well, because we live by all these things, you know, things that I've told myself. Big one that I've told myself is, I can't be a nice leader. That I did not know was holding me back for years. I had a belief, I can't be a nice leader. Wow. So whenever I'd meet people and they'd go, like, you could be CEO one day, I'd go, oh, no, I don't want to be a CEO. Or people going, hey, you could have like a really big, I was like, no, I don't want that. When people said to me, you're really ambitious, I'd go, I'm not ambitious. My friends would go, so you are ambitious? I'm like, nope, I am not ambitious. And they would kind of like, this is really weird for you to say. And I was like, really, Auntie, I'm not ambitious. I don't want a big role. I'm just lucky these things has happened. And it was by being coached that I realized that I had known 2 leaders who I would say were bullies. Mm-hmm. 2 leaders. And therefore, I made up a belief that you have to be a bully to be a leader. And then when they challenged me, they're like, how many leaders do you know? I was like, 200 probably. And 2 of them were bullies. And therefore my belief is you can't be a nice leader. You have to be a bully. Mm-hmm. So I was literally putting obstacles in my way to go, I can't lead because I'm too nice.
Right.
And then when I realized that, I could let it go. And then I'm like, well, actually, can be a really awesome leader and be nice and be positive and be authentic. And yes, I can lean into different strengths and different skill sets. It doesn't mean I have to be like, everyone can walk all over me, but I can still be who I am, which is a kind, genuine, positive person and be a successful leader. And that for me was like, my career just like went up.
So you talk about these beliefs, and I think that, you and I understand that when we get in, I can feel it. Like if somebody says something to me and I get triggered, I can feel this like, oh, there's a belief behind this. Like I'm stopping, I'm not going to take a step. I get too much fear in me. How do you teach people to uncover those beliefs that we all have, like all of us have, a belief that came from, like you said, like, you had 2 bully bosses, and so you created a belief around that. I had this nursery rhyme and I had many others. That's just one that's so easy to see. It's easy to see how that impacted me, but we still have them. And, how do you teach people to uncover some of those? Because it is the obstacle that's preventing us from getting where we want to go, right? It's not the outside obstacle we think it is. It's the inside obstacle that's really holding us into the place we're at. How do you teach people to recognize those?
Yeah, so I think there's an element, especially as a leader, because I think everybody can do this, not just from a coaching point of view, but is to be okay to be vulnerable. Rather than putting up going, I'm perfect, by the way, it's to go, no, like I'm not perfect and I don't try to be perfect, even though there's a big part of me going, please, I'm a perfectionist. It's like, which will be triggered from different things. But it's like, no, I don't need to be perfect. And people used to say to me all the time, how do you do it all? How do you have a successful career, set up your own business, look after 2, have 2 young kids? Like, how do you do it all? And I'd go, I do not do it all. Please do not be under the illusion that I do it all.
Right.
I have a nanny, PA, and a cleaner. Like I outsource and delegate as much as possible. So don't be thinking that, don't put me on a pedestal and think that I do it all.
Right.
But also I play to my strengths. I do what I'm good at. And I have got good at like delegating and recruiting and employing a great team who I can trust and delegate. I prioritize my growth as well to go, how can I grow and develop? That's, not only on the things that aren't working, but mainly what are the things that I'm good at? How do I turn them into superpowers?
Right.
So I think especially as leaders, listen to this, it's about being open and being okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because then when we open up a really honest conversation, we can go, well, why do we think we have to do it all?
Right.
And then that might come to, well, because I think I have to be perfect, or I think I'm not good enough. And it kind of just allows us to be a little bit open. So I think that vulnerability, when I'm sometimes stood on stage, a couple of hundred people, I do very much like coaching style keynotes. So I don't necessarily get up to the stage and talk the whole time. I get people thinking, I get people reflecting.
Sure.
I'd share some research or some insight or, a reflection, but then I'm open and I'm vulnerable. I share a little bit about me, and that's amazing how by being vulnerable yourself, suddenly everybody else goes, oh, if she's being vulnerable in front of 200 of us, I can be open and vulnerable. And it's think that you feed off of each other. And then you create a really safe space to be able to go, okay, so what is stopping me?
Right. The vulnerability part, I think, is hard for people because they have this misconception that people see me as, they said, you've written books, I've written books, you've been on stage, I've been on stage. And all of a sudden they create this image that we've got it all together, we know it all. We're in the higher vibration of whatever. No, we're still dealing with those day-to-day things, less, like I would say less than I used to, right? But recently, this week, I was in California speaking, and so it was going to be a national business women's organization, right? And I knew that the women in there were going to dress like they were going to have their makeup on, they were going to have their high heel shoes on, they were going to be in dresses probably, or at least in really, and I'm like, that's not me, right? Yeah. So here you go, I get scared, I get a little bit nervous because I'm like, that is not me. They're going to judge me. They're not going to like me because that's not who I am. And I'm not going to wear makeup, and I don't wear I've never worn makeup. I've never worn high heel shoes. I'm like, they're going to judge me. They're not going to like me. And here we go into this, into this thinking. Yeah. is going to hurt my presentation. It's going to hurt my connections.
Mm-hmm.
And because I recognized the internal language I was doing, I was able to say, I am as God created me. And I like to say love. I am as love created me. Therefore, I'm perfect as I am. Therefore, people are going to connect with me because I'm going to walk in as the love that I am. And I'm going to offer that to people. So, I had to first recognize, like, I'm doing this thing to myself that I tell other people, like, you've got to be aware of. It doesn't mean I stop doing it, but it means the difference is, I think, in when you can recognize it, that means that we can, A, recognize it, and two, is we have a skill set to deal with it, right? And if you're not vulnerable with other people about it, like I just talked to a coaching client this morning, and I told her this story. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you told me this story, because I'm still dealing with that piece of unworthiness. I said, we all do. The difference is we have tool sets to get us beyond it. Whereas if you're not recognizing it, you cannot use your tools to get beyond it.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's about being able to bounce back. And like with positive psychology, there's a lot around like our positive emotions. Right. And we need 3 positive emotions for every negative emotion we feel in order to flourish in life. So we need 3 positive emotions for every negative in order to flourish in life. So it's about going, this isn't about like blocking out all negativity and no bad things could ever happen in your life, because we're humans, that's not possible. But the more negatives we have, we need to insert more positives in order to be able to bounce back quicker. Mm-hmm. And we can either do things proactively or reactively.
Right.
And the reactive can be quite hard. Like to spot in the moment that you're going, I'm in a bit of a funk, I'm feeling down, to suddenly go, right, I'm going to put some music on, I'm going to look out the window and look at the sunshine, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to take some deep breath. You have to have kind of quite like an element of awareness of yourself to be able to go, in the moment, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But what you can also do is be proactive about it rather than just reactive. So I wake up in the morning and I now open the curtains, and the first thing I do when I open the curtains is I spot one thing that like I just find like, oh, makes me feel good. So it might be like a new flower, or the grass is really green because we've had loads of rain recently. So it's looking, or it might be that I can still see the moon. It's looking for one thing. Then I get into bed with my teenage daughter, wake her up, and we both say 3 things we're grateful for. And it's like, and I choose not to look at my phone straight away so I don't have that negative. So it's like proactively doing it. And I think that's the thing that you and I have done because of the work we can do. We can do the reactive piece better than people that are kind of like completely out of it because you're just on autopilot.
Right. And that's the part of training your mind to truly listen to what you're saying. Right. That's training your mind to be aware, that awareness. But I also love the fact that you start the day with gratitude. This is the thing, like we have to train ourselves to start the day with gratitude. When I walk, the first step I take, the first thing I think about is I say to myself, my body's a miracle. Because I've had a lot of health issues since I was 35, right? And it's been a long time. And so it's really easy for me to get mad at my body. It's really easy for me to see all the things that don't work. And so when I start the day with like, my body's a miracle, and the reason it's a miracle is, and I kind of say like, I don't think about how, how my lungs are pumping or how my heart's pumping or how the blood's moving through my body. I don't think about how I don't have to figure out my nerves and how my nerves are working. It's a miracle. And so when I start with that, it's a great place to start with, because then I'm looking for things in my body that are working versus the things that are not working, right? Mm-hmm. And when you wake up with gratitude, I think gratitude is such a big part of our training, right? To be grateful. Instead of looking for all the things that are wrong, we're looking for all the things that are good. And so you're starting off in that gratitude. And so teaching people to use gratitude is one of the tools I think that most coaches use is, keeping a gratitude journal or going on a rampage of thankfulness or whatever it is to teach that gratitude. And you just said it, like you go to your teenage daughter and you say 3 things, like to start, like you start your day with gratitude, then you go with your child, you're like, let's do gratitude together. It's such a huge, like I think you said, like being that you're starting the day the right way, right? You're starting the right way.
And don't get me wrong, for those listening going, like seriously, asking your kids that. My younger child, I say to her, 3 things you're grateful for. She's like, oh God, do we have to do that? So it doesn't work for everybody. It's like, find the right things. But for her, sometimes I'll go, what lessons are you looking forward to today? Or try just helping her frame slightly, because she's definitely one that goes, I don't want to tell you 3 things I'm grateful for. Go away, mum. So yeah, just before people put pressure on themselves and go, I've got to get my teenage children to tell me 3 things they're grateful for every morning. It's not for everyone, but it is looking for the positives, because if we don't proactively look for the positives, our subconscious looks for the negatives. Absolutely. It's how humans have evolved and stayed alive for however many years we have, by looking out for danger, looking for fear, looking for the negatives. And I would say as well, especially with, and I don't talk about politics and things like that, because it's like way too, but there is so much negativity out there in the press, in social media. Not only is our brain wired to the negative and fear, we're literally being pumped it as well. So we have to be really conscious to go, I'm looking for the positives, and that has to be a really conscious step. And I think that is with every single person's control, to look for the positives.
So it's interesting, because I had a coaching client, and he was he wasn't a like big negative person, but he wasn't positive, right? So he was kind of like, grumpy, and he goes, I'm just having a hard time every morning I get up, and I'm just angry. I said, well, walk me through what you do. Like, give me your morning routine. Because I turn on these political pundits and I listen to these people, and I said, well, how do you feel after? Terrible. He goes, terrible. I go, well, let's stop doing that thing and let's replace it with a positive podcast. Like, you can go seek, like, you can go to YouTube, you can go seek positive, whatever you want to do. There's a lot of positive people. I said, why don't you start your day with positivity? He goes, okay, well, like that, whatever. So 2 weeks go by, and I talked to him. He goes, oh my gosh, like, it's so, like, life is great. And I go, well, what changed? He goes, I started listening. I'd quit listening to the morning negative, like, people. I got on this positive podcast with a guy. He's kind of silly. Like, I think he's a little bit over the top. But listen, I listen to him 3 times a day. 3 times a day. And he goes, nice. I feel so good. Well, because what you're putting in, right? That's so important, what you put into yourself. Like, that conscious effort to get away. Like, I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in 20 years. I don't watch it news. Like, I read some headlines, so I know kind of what's going on, but I really don't watch the news. I don't watch television shows that are negative, so that leaves me with not a lot of shows to watch, like sports, whatever. But people go, oh my God.
Ted Lasso, you got to watch. I'm assuming you're like a big fan of Ted. Yeah, that's my kind of TV as well.
Yeah, so you can find something positive, and you align with, I start the day with positivity, like you. I start the day with reading something positive. I start the day with meditation. I start the day with gratitude. I start the day with consistently, which is why you're positive. It's why you show up the way that you are. And it's that consistency over time that produces the energy that you produce the way that you produce it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, thinking around taking this into leadership and having as a really practical thing with our teams, targets are high, pressures are high, deadlines are many. Everybody listening to this is going to go, I'm full. I've got a lot going on at work. It is so easy with our teams to go, right, what are you working on? What do we need to improve? What do we need to do more of? It's very easy to get into that. Actually, the power of going, okay, so what are we celebrating right now? What are you proud of from last week or last month? Like, and helping people get really clear on like that celebration, that look back, that pride, because when we kind of have that sense of accomplishment, we have more hope for the future and we take more positive steps. So I used to, with my team, when I ran a global team, we used to get together for, just a short amount of time. I think it's just half an hour once a month, first week of the month. And everyone would come with the answers to 3 questions, and we'd all be engaged, we'd all share. And it would be the answers to 3 questions. From a work perspective, what are you proud of from last month? One thing. From a work perspective, what is your priority for this month? One thing. Not here's my 25 things on my to-do list. It's my one top priority for this month. And from a personal point of view, what is my one priority for this month? And so for me, I used to love those calls. They were brilliant. We had a real boost of positivity and accomplishment and celebration and like, well done from the look back. So right, let's get really clear about the one most important thing. Then also getting to know each other on a human level. People going, I want to get out on a walk every lunchtime. I'm going to take my hour lunch break and go for a walk. It's like brilliant. No one's there going, you can't do that. Other people going, I'm running a marathon. I would never say that. I'm never going to run a marathon. But other people, I'm running a marathon. You're like, oh, I didn't know you're doing that. And you get to know each other on that personal level as well. And that's how you build that trust, that authenticity, and to be able to move forward. So I think if there's one thing that anyone takes away from here going, how do I practically take some things and do something like one half-an-hour meeting once a month?
And you can do that, you can do the same thing, like people have meetings, like staff meetings or whatever. And you don't have to do every single time that you meet. But if we did this when I was coaching basketball, and I heard somebody else talk about it, and I go, my first thought, Tara, honestly, was that's stupid. Because they were talking about the positive circle, being positive, and I go, well, that's stupid. My players will never like blah, blah, blah. But I go, worth a shot. we're grumbly, we don't like each other as much as we should. So we would do a positive circle, not every day, but maybe once a week, right? And the rules were, number one, you couldn't repeat, like there was no repeatables. So somebody said, like we said today, we're going to talk about the one thing you love about playing for this team. Nobody else in the circle could say the same thing that you said. So you had to have 15 different things that were said, right? There were no reactions to what anybody said. So if somebody said something, there was no reactions. Like if they were laughing, you could laugh with them. You couldn't laugh at them. You couldn't ask them a question. You were not going to add a comment. It was just they said it and the next person went, right? So there was safety in the circle. My players loved it so much that they would come and they go, oh my gosh, can we have a positive circle today? I need something to share.
I love
they
that.
started wanting to share positive things with their teammates. And it was short. I mean, it doesn't take long because you're not letting comments go. You're not having discussions.
Exactly.
This was just, one after another. And we would use it in a variety of ways. But what I found out too is I could learn a lot about my team, just like you were talking about. A lot about the team, because you would say something like, I might say something, tell me one thing positive that happened to you over the weekend. All of a sudden I'm learning like, well, my sister had a baby, or, things I would have never known that were very important to these people, that then I could go have a little short conversation with them later. And they go, oh man, like Coach really cares about it. Of course I do, but I didn't have the information to then have the conversation. It's one of the things I tell my clients now, like, this is a great little thing that you can do. You don't have to call it positive circle. You can call it the Adobe circle. You can call it the, whatever, the Nike circle. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But, having that opportunity in a short amount of time, a really short amount of time, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You can create this positive environment, this people, when they can't wait to share. That's the most important thing. They can't wait to share something good, where most people are ready to share something bad.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same with goals. You kind of go, what's your goal? And you go, well, I don't want to be so stressed. I don't want to be overworked. It's like, well, hang on. Well, what do you want? And helping people frame into what you do want. And again, it's like that mindset shift.
Absolutely. Man, Tara, this has been awesome. So tell people, like, if there's one thing that you want to leave people with today that I haven't asked you, there's something that from all your experiences, in the corporate world and now in your own business, what is something that you can leave people with that will make if they applied it, a dramatic improvement on their experience in life?
Yeah. So I think it would be figure out what you're good at and spend as much time as possible doing that. So like talking about strengths, sometimes we do like exercises at work where we do surveys and what are your strengths, and some people go, oh yeah, I've got it written down on a piece of paper. It's like, no, not written down somewhere, but going, I know I am really good at coaching. I'm really good at being positive. I'm really, good at just being genuine and authentic and bringing the best out of people, and simplifying the complex, communicating. Just get really clear on what you are good at and spend as much time as possible doing that, rather than going, oh, I'm not very good at this, so I need to spend loads and loads of hours doing that thing that I'm not good at. No. Delegate, outsource, spend as much time doing the things that you're good at. Focus on what's working rather than what's not working.
Yeah, because when you're passionate about something, you're going to take more action. If you hate it and you have to make yourself do it, like when I started my business, people are like, you have to cold call. What's the number one thing that I would never, ever do in my world if I had time? Cold call. Never, ever, 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 ever. And I'm like, that's never going to work for me, because that idea, is like the least, probably of the list of 1,000 things, it would be 1,000th.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so you're trying to make yourself do something that you hate. It's never going to work. I love that you say that, like focus on the things you love and focus on your passions. And it doesn't mean that other things don't have to be done, but can you find people who can compliment you and do the thing that they love to do that you really do not love to do?
Exactly. Yeah. Because we think that, everyone must hate that stuff. It's like, no, other people love that. So yeah, finding those little pockets and finding your
Because other people don't really not love the things that you do, and you're surprised because you think, well, I love them, then everybody else must love these. Yeah. And if I hate these, then everybody else must hate these. So tell people how they can get a hold of you, because tell them again what you do. I know that you're really good at what you do. You can tell folks, if you're listening, you know she knows. Like, this is a person who knows. Like, she knows her business. She can really help you. Tell them, number one, what are the things that you do? And number two, how can they find you and how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, perfect. So what do? I help busy professionals to figure out how they can really be the most confident version of them. So setting goals that excite them, really get clear on what is that self-talk that is holding me back, and be able to switch it so that you're listening to that inner cheerleader, because it takes work. You and I know it takes work to be able to do that. But once you do it, you unlock so much. So I really help busy professionals. I do that through one-to-one and group coaching. So they're the main ways. And also my retreats. I run retreats out in Ibiza, in Spain, and also at my home in the UK. So coaching and retreats are the main way that I help people there. And I also help leaders. So specifically working with leaders. They may well fall into that first bucket as well. But I specifically help leaders to create teams that are engaged, empowered and energized. So yesterday, for example, I was running a Thriving Through Change full-day workshop at a team offsite with 30 people. So we are going through so many changes at the moment. How do I frame that to the positive? How do we see the opportunities?
Right.
So whether it's around that, whether it's around communicating, whether it's that building teams together. So there's lots of different aspects that I help people with, but it's under that banner of, you want your team to be more engaged, energized and empowered, bring me in and I can help you. So whether that's on stage, whether that's in a small strategy session with your team, a number of different ways. So
I can guarantee you, if people are listening, I can guarantee you, if I was close, she's not anywhere close to where I am. If we were not across the ocean from each other, I would be going just to take part. There's always something to learn, and I want to learn from people who are energetic, who are positive, who are lifelong learners, who, like Tara, has invested. She's invested in her growth and continues to invest in her growth. And so she shows up as this loving, kind, authentic, positive person, which is really what we're all trying to do, right? We're all trying to end up happier. And I would guarantee you that Tara can get you there.
Thank you. And I'd say, you said about how people can find me. So there's a couple of ways. One, my website, which is tararulcoaching.com. So tararulcoaching.com is my website. LinkedIn. So I post most days on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. So my LinkedIn, Tara Rule, my Instagram, Tara Rule Coaching. And also you can buy a copy of my book as well. So this is the book, Stop Apologizing. It's a lot of what we spoke about, but in a book. So it's Stop Apologizing, Silence Your Inner Critic, Find Your Confidence and Stop Saying Sorry. So you can buy that on Amazon as well.
I can guarantee you, folks, if you're looking to grow, if you're looking for that next level of you, if you're really looking to be a leader or leaders or visionaries, it all starts within you, right? We think that going through your school and your college is important. It is. It's essential, to learn those things and to continue learning your aspects of whatever you're doing. And if you fail to grow you're missing the most essential part. Right? It's that difference maker. It's the difference maker between, most people want talented people, right? And they know that talent alone is never going to hit the top. It's got to have the mindset with the talent, and that's what Tara's going to bring to you. Thank you for all the folks who are joining us today. Please reach out to Tara. I know she's great if she's in your area. Please. She's one of the people that's going to help you get where you want to go. Thank you for visiting our podcast, Olympic Minds, Leadership Beyond Limits. And folks, please, if you love this, please share it. Get it out to people so that they too can grow and they can find the answers they've been looking for. And everybody, hey, have a winning day. Bye now.